Hey guys, welcome to Double Trend News. It's Dan.
AT.
All right, so more Apple iPhone news, but in this case, in China, mainland Chinese people love iPhones, and every year it's like a craze, okay? People buy them in droves, try to smuggle them in, get caught at the border, whatever. But actually one company now has banned people in China from buying iPhone 7 or iPhone 7 Plus. And if you buy it, you will be fired.
Will be forced to resign.
Forced to resign.
And,
nice way of saying, please remove yourself from this company.
Yeah, I feel like every time the iPhone gets released in China, some kind of controversial thing happens, and it's been pretty controversial this year because of, the South China Sea dispute, and then, and also the fact that nowadays China has its own cell phone companies,
right.
And some companies would just prefer that their employees use domestically produced cell phones,
right.
And it kind of seems like, when they're buying iPhones, it's like, you're buying a foreign product. And specifically,
Exactly.
Sometimes China doesn't agree with a lot of American policies and vice versa. So there's tension. Some people don't care at all. Like, I know for a fact that a lot of Chinese people, they just like, whatever, I'll use whatever phone I want.
It's not like I buy an American phone, therefore I believe in American politics
No.
or whatever. It's a phone.
It's a phone.
Yeah.
Then if you disagree with Japan or Korea, then you can't use a Samsung. Every time something like this happens, I feel like people in China sometimes get swept up in this craze of patriotism.
Right.
But I feel like, personally, I feel like the phone doesn't really matter. If you want to be a patriot, not buying a phone from a certain company, I don't feel like that's necessarily helping or hurting.
Right.
So,
and this, what you're talking about, this sort of patriotism about, buying domestic goods, not buying foreign goods, and then also this South China Sea thing, what we're talking about is earlier this year, companies basically who were protesting the ruling of the South China Sea was urging or basically saying you cannot use or buy iPhones to their employees as well. But for that reason, this reason here, they want more domestic goods being sold. I feel like right now, Chinese companies and people are sort of speaking out about certain things. I'm not agreeing with them. I don't think you should ban people from using whatever phone they want to. I'm just saying in the past, everyone in China is like, oh, let's get, American goods. That's what they want. They want iPhones, they want Apple, they want the latest technology, they want what the West has. And that's not just China, that's a lot of countries in Asia, right? Because things are popular there. But now I feel like there are some companies and some people who are like, you know what? I don't want that. We want our own stuff because now our own technology is getting better and better, and we should drive our own economy rather drive someone else's economy. Even here, there are movements where people in America, companies won't tell you to do that, but if you believe in something, you could choose. You're like, you know what? I don't want to wear something that comes from China. A lot of people do that in America, because of, not drive China's economy, but because it's comes from sweatshops or whatever.
But it's personal choice.
Right.
I feel like that's the issue at hand. I get those policies, but you can't tell someone, oh, you can't, if you have an iPhone, I'm gonna fire you. That's weird.
Right.
I saw in a comment section, somebody was like, well, what if you worked in an American company and they were like, oh, company-wide policy, you cannot use a Korean phone, you cannot use a Chinese phone.
People.
Then first of all, you'll never hear something like that happening because
it goes
people are like, it's my phone.
Right.
Relax. Jeez,
Also, it's in America, people are especially sensitive about racial discrimination and gender discrimination. I mean, America is, look, there's a lot of things wrong with it, but there is one thing, in the Constitution, it's all about equality. So there are, even though it is not equal by any means, okay, it is not, but at least there are times when people are trying to be, and that's why, in the workplace, men and women, there are problems with gender inequality,
There's
but
still a pay gap and everything.
right.
Yeah.
But people are trying to address it. So, anyways, you're saying, it should be your own choice. If you don't want to use an iPhone and you want to buy domestic, you want to buy a Huawei, you should decide that for yourself and not have someone else be like, you can't come to work with an iPhone or else you get fired.
Yeah, I'm just it's all about personal choice. I get it. Sometimes when there's sensitive political issues, some people are gonna be like, I'm not gonna buy this thing because it comes from this country, but that's my personal choice. So go ahead, do that. I'm not saying that it's a smart thing to do, but they can do it because that's their own choice.
Right.
But what I do not agree with is if you go to work and then your boss is like, well, I don't like it. No, from now on, no more iPhones. And you just bought an iPhone and you spent $1,000. Thanks a lot. What am I gonna do with this now?
I mean, look, what's funny? It's not even people can't get around this. I'm like, okay, so if I really want an iPhone, I'll just buy an iPhone and I'll keep it at home or keep it in my pocket or my bag, and then just buy a really cheap other phone and just that's my work phone. But you know what I mean? So it's not even people can't buy an iPhone anyways. How are they gonna know? that they buy an iPhone. They just, I mean, in this case, they could buy one. They just don't have to bring it to work.
You can slap a pear on the back and make it a pear phone. iPair.
What if they're like, that's an iPhone, you have to resign? They're like, actually, I got scammed.
It's a sunjai. It's awesome.
You're like, I got it off the internet. Sorry. And also, like, the iPhone's definitely getting less and it's still popular, but it is nowhere near. I feel like the iPhone 7 this year, the release, you know, the people going crazy over in China, they're not going that crazy. Yeah, they're trying to smuggle it in, but I do remember last year when the 6 came out, I mean, every single person outside of the Apple store, and like in New York, right, there was like 5 Apple stores. I mean, the first 100 people were just like people from mainland China sitting there waiting to buy like 10 phones. I'm like, this is insane. You know, not even, you know, it's literally the line wrapped around the corner, but this year you don't really see that.
There's so many ways that they could have like just addressed that issue, which I think is good. I don't quite think it's necessarily a good thing for the craze to be so, because people get hurt, you know, I don't know. I just feel like if it was made that people can get equal access to iPhones in China, like around the same time, they won't have to stand outside and wait for like 10 phones. And now there's like tax policies, you can't just bring like 5, 10 iPhones, you can only have one apparently. So I feel like all of those factors contribute to why this year it didn't seem like there was as big of a craze as the previous years, which I don't think is necessarily a bad thing, you know, so that's the way it is.
Exactly. It's just kind of crazy that a company would be like, specifically, you cannot buy an iPhone or bring an iPhone to work or whatever. So let us know what you guys think of this story. Thanks again for watching. See you later.
Bye.